That's the damning verdict of journalist Duncan Castles, who believes Manchester City dodged a bullet by not signing the Chilean. Sanchez's move to Old Trafford has been a nightmare. After scoring 80 goals in 166 games for Arsenal, there were high hopes for the 30-year-old, but he has bagged a mere 4 in 32 appearances for the Red Devils since joining in January 2018. Another United star that has struggled to adapt is Fred, who has made just 14 appearances since his summer move from Shakhtar Donetsk. Related articles on Manchester City dodging bullets in Fred and Sanchez. We should add Jorginho into that list. Duncan Castles. Both men were initially linked with moves to arch-rival City, and Castles thinks the Premier League champions are better off without them, as well as faltering Chelsea midfielder Jorginho, who was also wanted by Pep Guardiola back in the summer. On Manchester City dodging bullets in Fred and Sanchez, we should add Jorginho into that list, he told the Transfer Window podcast, because that was the player that Guardiola identified as an alternative to Fred once Manchester United moved ahead in that race. You wonder how Jorginho would have fitted into the Manchester City scheme. Probably easier for him in that he wouldn't be so exposed as he is in Maurizio Sarri's system, where everything goes through him and the manager identifies him as being the most important tactical element, and when that's not working, the criticism has been drawn to him, and also the additional criticism that comes with the N'Golo Kanté factor, so you would imagine it would have been easier for him at Manchester City. Manchester City dodged a bullet by not signing Alexis Sanchez, Fred and Jorginho. Castles. Pick Getty. Chelsea beat Manchester City to the signing of Jorginho back in the summer. Pick Getty, but Castles thinks Pep Guardiola dodged a bullet by not signing the Brazilian. Pick Getty, but I think you can argue that was a bullet dodge. Jorginho has seriously gone off the boil for Chelsea. The Brazilian initially hit the ground running at Stamford Bridge, displaying the type of finesse City were so desperate to add to their ranks, but Tottenham set the blueprint on how to stop him back in November, and since then he has arguably been the Blues' biggest weak link. Castles thinks it could be too early to judge the likes of Jorginho and Fred, but insists Sanchez was a waste of money. Alexis Sanchez has been a waste of money for Manchester United, says Castles. Pick Getty. I think you have to be careful with all these new signings when you're making judgments 6 or 12 months in, especially when they're moving to a new league, he said. The history of most players who come to the Premier League, particularly top players, is one of needing an adaptation period, and I think that's especially relevant in the midfield, so I'd hold on a final decision on Jorginho, hold on a final decision on Fred. The likes of Sanchez, I don't think we need to hold on that one because he was long adapted to the league and it's essentially been a huge waste of money on Manchester United's part, a big problem for them to solve and an interesting one for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's positivity and different managerial style, whether he can draw the play.